Welcome to Sibling Scribbles.
My name is Maren.
And my name is John.
And today we're going to take you on the amazing adventure of Pokemon.
Yeah. Let's show off our Pokemon stuff first.
Okay,
I forgot to bring my Pokemon stuff. It's in the wash.
I am wearing a Slowpoke hat, and I made a pin. I don't know if you can see it, but it says Dum Dum on it. It's like a Dum Dum wrapper. And then I'm wearing my...
Just do it later.
Just do it later. And then, of course, my... oh, I moved the camera up too much. This is a Slowpoke that...
That's not a Slowpoke.
Oh my goodness. This is a Snorlax. This is a Snorlax that Haley, John's wife,
Yes.
crocheted for me as a present for Christmas one time. And then that is a Slowpoke.
This is a Slowpoke.
For some reason, people gift me Slowpoke things. I don't know why.
Man,
both of these are gifts.
So wild.
All right. I don't want to hear it.
That's so crazy.
When I was grabbing these things, I'm like, why are the only Pokemon things I have, like Pokemon that are asleep, and then kind of like sit around? Okay.
It's my only Pokemon merch that I wear. I have a Pikachu swimsuit that I bought as a joke. And then I have the white hoodie that I normally wear with a little hand-drawn Pikachu on it that says all corporations will perish, or all companies will perish.
Yeah.
And that one's great. I love that one. It makes me very happy.
So good. Our older brother Isaac, he has a pink hoodie that is this color, and it says tax evasion.
Yeah, it's a little Pikachu with tax evasion.
And that is peak Pokemon merch.
Peak Pokemon, true real merch too. Actual real merch. Yeah, the Pokemon company who supports tax evasion and the death of capitalism.
I think it's a Pikachu.
It's Pukacho. Pukacho on Twitter does some goofy. He does some goofy stuff. He's a goofy guy.
Goofy guy.
Today we are talking about Pokemon.
If you can't tell.
Yes. Pokemon is very near and dear to our family's hearts.
Yes. So we're going to fan about it for like 5 minutes, and then we're going to talk about it seriously.
Right.
Because we're serious.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about the storytelling strengths and weaknesses of Pokemon as a franchise.
Right.
Pokemon is it is the highest selling franchise of all time. It is.
Wow. Not even like Frozen?
No, Pokemon's number one.
Dang,
and then, do you want to know number two is?
Mario?
Hello Kitty.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
Who buys that crap?
I don't know, man.
I liked Hello Kitty when I was like 5. And then like I never owned a Hello Kitty thing again. But like what grown man is out there buying Hello Kitty crap?
I've seen memes where it's like, would you rather have an internet addict son or a Hello Kitty daughter?
Hello Kitty. Oh, no, but that's an addiction as well. I mean, it must be.
It has to be, right?
Because someone's buying it.
Someone's buying a Pokemon level of merch for it.
Holy crap.
But Pokemon is massive, and it has amazing stories to tell in the medium. And we feel like Pokemon has kind of fallen short in a lot of ways in its narrative abilities.
Yes. But first, we're going to fan out because there's no other...
We love Pokemon. Nothing's like Pokemon. Nothing's like Pokemon in the whole world.
We don't really have another opportunity to talk about it. I mean, unless they come out with a game that has a good story.
Not happening.
But that's not going to happen.
No, ma'am.
More on that later. Okay, so you tell me your favorite Pokemon, and I'll tell you my favorite Pokemon.
I think it's got to be Milotic or Ninetales.
Cool.
Or maybe Quagsire. I love Quagsire. He's such a dumb-looking dude.
He's so cute. I love .I Pokemon. They're just...
They're a vibe. They're a vibe.
I love them. Let's see here. I really like Snorlax. I think Snorlax is great. I also really, really like Growlithe. I think Growlithe is so cool.
Not even Arcanine,
Growlithe. He's puppy.
Aww. It's a really good pick.
And so I like those two. And then I don't know, because that, like, after that they're like they're just S tier. Like they're so good. You know, there's lots of really, really good ones like Blaziken.
Blaziken's awesome.
Charizard, Dragonite. They're cool.
Yes.
They're so cool.
Did you ever play any Pokemon games?
Yes, I have played a good amount of them, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because I played Pokemon Blue. That was my first one on the Game Boy.
No kidding. My version of Pokemon Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Did you beat it?
Yeah, but it was a great game.
No way. I had no idea.
That was my first Pokemon game.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That was my first Pokemon game.
Really good. I did, but this was kind of funny because John learned how to read playing Pokemon.
I was going to tell it. I was going to tell the story.
But the funny thing is, I'll let you tell it in a second, but I heard that you learned how to play Pokemon, learned how to read playing Pokemon, and I was like, I don't know how to read yet. And so I also played Pokemon to beef up my vocabulary.
I love Kid Logic. Kid Logic is so great. Yeah, I
mean, it helps being number 5
yes,
in a
it
family.
Does. Yes, it does.
To be fair.
So I'd played Pokemon Blue and I liked Pokemon Blue, but it wasn't so bad actually, because Pokemon Blue, we would have these Prima handbooks, right? The Prima was the name of the company. We had these handbooks, and the handbooks told you how to play the game and how to beat the game. And for Pokemon Silver, I think Silver was my first game, and then I also got Blue later. But you reach a point in the game where you have to backtrack, right? You have to go back to a different area. You have to, you follow the path, and then you reach Lake of Rage, and then you go back to fight Team Rocket in Goldenrod City.
Right.
But the problem was that I would reach that point in the game watching Isaac or Seth play Gold or Crystal, and then I didn't know to backtrack.
Oh.
Because the NPCs are telling me to do that, and the book is telling me to do that, but I didn't know how to read that. So I'd gotten by simply by the fact that I knew a certain attacks looked like, right? Like we had Pokemon Stadium for the N64, and so we would sit around when Isaac wasn't around. We would sit there and we would select the different attacks and listen to the announcer go, Charizard used Flamethrower. And we would go Flamethrower, and we would write down Flamethrower on a big piece of paper and be like, that's how you spell Flamethrower, right? And we would sound it out. Funny. I remember it was Sam and I would do it together. And so I had to I reached a point where I was like, I can't just get by knowing which one is Ember and which one is Flamethrower and which attack is Fly, right? I can't get by on just knowing a few vocab words. I have to know enough vocab to figure out what happens next in the game so that I can go and do that thing.
Right.
Instead of just asking Isaac, right? Instead of asking my older brother, I was like, I'm going to friggin' learn.
I mean, I guess that's good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I
much
learned how to read.
Our dear kindergarten teacher mother's
dismay,
chagrin. Our poor mom.
She took it like a champ.
She's like, "What works, works. Now read."
Well, we lived in the Midwest when Pokemon was popping off, right? And so we had tons of Pokemon cards. And at the time, in the Midwest, when Pokemon was popular in the 90s and early 2000s, it was kind of this people were saying it's demonic, right? Only God controls the elements, not Pokemon.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, no. Pokemon had its own little satanic panic moment, except Pokemon was so massive that you couldn't, they couldn't fight it. But,
it's so cute. Have you seen Pikachu? As no demon.
My mom and dad were like, Pokemon has anime and it's weird, and maybe let's not let them watch anime and collect Pokemon cards and play video games all day.
That was before a good anime.
And then dad was like, look, anime's good, first of all. The show's fun.
Dad didn't say that.
No, he didn't say that. He said look, every one of these kids, every one of our kids can name every Pokemon, their type, where to find them, and which level they evolve. That is a skill that they are going to carry into, that is a skill they're going to need to know, they're going to need to have when they learn every state in their capital. This is.
Oh, I didn't know that. That was the origin.
Yeah, that was mom and dad deciding that to encourage it. That they would always let us watch Pokemon
Just
anime.
imagine mom doing a pros and cons list with they're on their bed. They're like, let's see here. Pro, state capitals, con, anime.
So the middle ground they came to was they let us watch the Pokemon anime, but Yu-Gi-Oh played directly afterwards, and we were not allowed to watch Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's right, we weren't.
We were not allowed to watch Yu-Gi-Oh. If you watch Yu-Gi-Oh now, it is not that bad at all. It's like it is Y7, right? It is G rated.
Yeah, but we weren't even allowed to watch SpongeBob growing up because mom and dad were like, it's inappropriate and it'll kill your brain cells. What I actually think is that they just didn't want to hear it in the background.
That makes sense. Yeah,
like that's my actual guess.
I have a story about that. I went to Nauvoo. Mom and dad went off to the temple, and some other members that were in the hotel with us, they left their kid with us, and they all went, and we all hung out. We watched SpongeBob for like 6 hours straight, something insane. Oh my
gosh.
And apparently we were just the worst after that.
I believe it.
But fun story on that, the kid who came and hung out with us in the hotel brought Pokemon Yellow, and we hung out and we played Pokemon Yellow most of the day. It was super cool.
That's so great.
Pokemon's been a huge part of our life.
We love Pokemon. Oh, I think the Mariners just scored. Thompson just cheered from the other room. Pokemon was a huge part of my childhood too, like as a girl, just because I had brothers and I liked all the cute Pokemon.
Yeah.
But we collected Pokemon cards. And so we have big binders of Pokemon cards, each one of us. And we didn't really trade between us. They were it was our Pokemon cards. And we would play a game. I don't know if anyone else did this, but we played a game called Pokemon Cards That Talk.
PCTT.
That's what we called it.
Yeah, Seth and I came up with this.
Our family was really into toys, and so we would play like Toy Town and Pokemon Cards That Talk and G.I. Joe.
Pokemon toys were hard to come by for whatever reason.
Right.
Wherever we lived, Pokemon toys were hard to come by, or they were expensive because they're name brands, so mom and dad wouldn't get them for us.
Yeah.
So we would just have our Pokemon cards, like walk around. We'd build little towns for them.
We would build the towns, and we would build like gyms, and it would be like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah.
So it's like all the Pokemon can like talk, and they live in a world where they can interact in English, basically.
Right. And then we would just role play as basically all the Pokemon cards. We would role play. If it was your card, you role played as that card.
Right. And you gave them a voice, and they had a personality. Like my cards had personality.
Of course, I mean, the art was so evocative, right? The art in Pokemon cards is so good that you know how that Absol talks, right?
Yeah.
You know how that Growlithe acts.
I love Absol. He's cool too.
Absol's so sick.
But we were really into Pokemon just as kids.
Loved Pokemon.
It was good.
So let's get into the actual podcast.
So the thing that we grew up on, the original anime, with Ash Ketchum and Misty and Brock and the Jelly Donuts, like that's what we grew up on, and that was a fun story.
Yeah,
but the game didn't go much further than that.
The truth is the games weren't designed to have really deep stories to them. It was kind of during an age where a story, like they put a lot more of their effort into just getting all those darn Pokemon into the game.
Right. They're like, this is a coding nightmare. The story is an afterthought.
Right. And even now, I still think that the Pokemon journey in the first games are kind of iconic because it is just a very tight story of you go here, you do this, you go here, you do. It's just a good old fashioned JRPG.
And we have a good bad guy who wants to dominate the world.
Your rival is the worst.
Your rival's a jerk.
He's a real jerk.
Scary.
The towns are fantastic, right? But even then, you're right. The story wasn't super deep.
No, but it was good enough for the first game. The problem is that they kept doing the same story.
Right.
That was the actual problem.
If you look at all of the kind of the stuff around the games, other people tried their hardest to tell interesting stories in this medium. You're right. Like the original anime with the original anime showrunner.
Yeah.
That show was fantastic. Really, really good stuff. The manga.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the manga's sick. If that was made into an anime,
holy crap! Pokemon Adventures.
They would have to end around silver and gold though, because after that it's like meh.
It's pretty good. Well, I think that's actually the case for all of them because there was a business decision that was made. right?
Really?
And the business decision, originally Pokemon was only going to be
sad.
Gen 1 and Gen 2, right? They were only going to make...
That's it?
Yeah, that was all they were going to make. The original plan for Pokemon was we're going to make red and blue version, or red and green version, and then we're going to make gold version, and gold version is going to be this enhanced version of Pokemon Red and Blue that was just going to have an extra region attached to it, and it was going to have all of the Pokemon that they couldn't fit into the first game. And at this time, and so that was the original plan. And then Pokemon became Pokemon, right? Became a massive success. So Pokemon Yellow gets made, and Pokemon Yellow is just a remake with tons of features from the anime. And then Pokemon Gold gets a Pokemon Silver, and Pokemon Silver has Lugia on it because that was designed for a movie, and the movie did really well. So now Lugia has to be in the games. And then Pokemon Crystal got made because that's basically the heightened version of Pokemon Gold and Silver. So you see that kept happening until after Johto, after those second games. The Pokemon Company, some people in the Pokemon Company made the decision, and they said, no, you're not going to stop, and also you're not going to change it, because the primary consumers for this are 10-year-olds.
So keep writing to 10-year-olds, even though the 10-year-olds are now 20 years old?
That's right. Well, yes, because 10-year-olds today are crazy about Pokemon the way that they were back then. I mean, not on the same scale, but it's still the group of people they're marketing to. So when that happened, you see a decrease in quality to the story.
Right.
You see a major decrease in quality of the stories. I still love Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, but
love them.
I love Ruby and Sapphire, but Ruby and Sapphire is even. Every game, every few regions, you can see them try to recapture the magic of that first region.
Right.
Because they're a company now and they have to make money, so they just follow the formula. Don't break the formula. And when they did that, the stories really suffered.
Yeah. Because I played Blue, Ruby, Gold. No.
Heart Gold?
Heart Gold.
On the DS, yeah.
Heart Gold on the DS. But I owned that, but I kept on playing Sam's Silver, Soul Silver. I was like, I like this one better. But I owned Gold. Like, I bought it.
Siblings.
That one, I really liked Let's Go Pikachu. I thought that was really fun. I hated Sword. That killed, because I bought that. I saved up and I bought that. And I was really sad with that one. But we had like just random ones too. Like there was one with like mini games that we had on the PlayStation growing up.
We did not have a PlayStation. I'll tell you that.
It was
on the Wii.
No. Was that on the Wii?
On the N64. You're talking about Pokemon Stadium.
Yes.
Yeah, with all the little mini games.
I loved the mini games.
Pokemon Stadium is still S tier content.
So good. I said on the PlayStation, you're like, we did not have. We never had a PlayStation. I'm like, oh gosh, sorry. We had like every other console.
Yeah, we were Nintendo
ever.
We were Nintendo purists. Yeah. Isaac got an Xbox at some point.
He became a teenager. That's what happens.
Yeah. Rip.
R.I.P. childhood. But like those were the ones I played, and
those are all really good.
I really liked. I'm a mini game girly. Okay, you can quote me on that. I love a good mini game, like in Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
The Pokeathlon.
You could go.
Yeah.
It was so fun. And the mining.
The underground in Diamond and Pearl.
Bring back the mining. I played Pearl.
You played Pearl version?
I played Pearl. Bring back the mining. It was so good.
So this is actually kind of a continuation of our conversation that we had about Animal Crossing.
Yeah. That's the downfall of Animal Crossing, because like you could just stuff that sucker with mini games.
Yeah.
And it would be so fun. And for all the mini game girlies out there, put your hands up, be proud.
Yes.
Come on, band together.
I think that Pokemon also suffers because of a lack of mini games. I think when there are, the mini games are some of the funnest stuff you can do in these games, unless you want to start getting into like the competitive realm of battling.
Because the battling was fine. Like I would try it and be like, whatever.
That's cool.
But I'm like, Entei, you are going to have the most agility out of any Pokemon.
And then you're going to run a 100-meter dash.
Yes.
Entei, what do you think of hurdles?
Entei with Liam Neeson's voice.
Of course, Mary. You are my daughter, and I will not disappoint you.
Yay, Entei, run!
I think so. I think Animal Crossing. So there's a lot of crossover here because I think in Pokemon, in the game's Pokemon, your Pokemon have zero personality. They do not exist, right?
Yeah.
But because you go through these experiences with them, and because you teach them certain moves and you give them a funny nickname, you feel connected with them. Pokemon are like not even a one-dimensional character, right? They are. They're like concept art.
They are pixels on a screen. Everyone grow up.
Well, I mean, the Pokemon.
No!
The Pokemon themselves on your team are like don't have personalities. They don't do things differently, right? They don't have an attitude.
Unfortunately.
But unfortunately, we give them those attitudes, right? I had my Ninetales and Alpha Sapphire was so clutch. My Ninetales always came through, right? And I remember that, right? That was something special for me.
Yeah.
Pokemon and Animal Crossing are games where you tell the stories in them, which makes it so disappointing when they keep trying to tell the same story over and over and over again.
Right.
Because the world is so rich with good ideas. Yeah.
It's like, why are we a Pokemon trainer in every game? Like,
I don't know.
Every single one.
I don't know.
Because I mean, like, training Pokemon is sweet, but you could play as the Pokemon in the restaurant.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why they have Cafe Mix,
which was a fun game, but it got really hard. It was like, this is fun, and then it got like really hard, and I was like, I'm just making coffee. I don't understand.
Or Pokemon Ranger or Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah.
Right? These other games, they did a really cool job.
The ground is fertile with ideas for Pokemon.
Not a good enough reason to say fertile.
It's so fertile.
Okay.
Use your fertility to your advantage.
No. But right, like if you even like I was making a joke about Entei being your dad is hilarious because the first like for a while when that first showrunner in Pokemon was still there, those movies were like awesome. They were truly incredible.
They're so beautiful.
Did you know that dude died from an overdose? He was like drunk and drugged out of his mind the entire time.
Why is it that the greatest creators are all on heroin? I don't understand. We were just talking about this earlier too. It's like either more people need to be on heroin or we need to find another avenue. Like, I'm not saying heroin is good, but I'm also saying that there might be a place for it in this world. Just maybe.
There's a time and place, fellas. That's ours.
Maybe if we just did it one time, we could make a great hit. Don't know. We don't know. No, don't do heroin. It's so bad.
Don't do heroin. Don't take opioids. The point is that Pokemon is this rich. We've talked. We've ranted. We've raved.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Pokemon kind of fell off narratively. Because some argue that the newer games are good. I hear Scarlet and Violet has a decent story.
That's the thing. Like I'm not willing to
take the risk
to go and buy it and be disappointed again.
Right, because I'd be really disappointed.
I'd be really disappointed.
So
I mean, $60 is not the same as it used to be.
No.
But like because I have a job.
But still, like it's disappointing to play a Pokemon game only to realize like, well, that was kind of a game for babies.
Right. Like the best Pokemon game that I ever played was in my imagination. That's sad.
Yeah, that kind of is. The best Pokemon game I ever played was Pokemon Emerald, and I Nuzlocked it.
Oh, right? That's right.
Nuzlocking is when you play a Pokemon game, but if any of your Pokemon faint, they die, and you can't use them ever again, and you can only catch the first Pokemon you meet on each route. It is tough. and it was extremely rewarding. And it was extremely rewarding because I felt those connections with my Pokemon. When my Pokemon died, I was like, why on earth did I go into that without a real plan? Like, what? Like, why am I such a moron?
Yeah.
Like, I messed that up hard. And so it was because like the Nuzlocking experience heightens the Pokemon experience for me because it adds the challenge that I had as an illiterate 5-year-old, right?
Yeah. I think that's a good point. That it's just not hard enough. And there's plenty of other things to like jump on. Like everyone trashes on Pokemon.
Yeah.
And
it's easy to trash on the best.
They deserve some of the bad talk. They really do. But they also deserve all the nostalgia.
And they deserve the praise too.
Yeah.
The Pokemon designs are iconic.
Oh, they're so good.
They're very, very, because
there's a reason everyone remembers their starter Pokemon and their favorite in the TV show. And I mean, like Squirtle Squad.
And,
I mean, like they were good and it was so fun.
The character design is just miraculous. It's so stinking good.
Yeah.
We could have an entire episode just talking about how good and how clever. I mean, for heaven's sakes, the silhouette test, right, in animation, right, is that you should be able to recognize a character simply by their silhouette.
Yeah,
right?
or just by like scribbling like their colors in the right order on a page.
Right, you should know who they are. Pokemon literally does exactly that with Who's That Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's how good the designs are, is that it was a game for children.
Right. And like they make fun of it a little bit in the show too.
Yeah.
It's Jigglypuff from above.
One of the greatest moments in the anime.
But like they do a lot of really good things. Like the one thing that we wish that was better was the story. The amount of creativity it takes to come up with a different story is not a lot. Would people play?
Everyone has one, yeah.
Would people play every single one of those? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of garbage crap out there. I mean, like you look up Gardevoir on the internet. And
don't look up Gardevoir on the internet.
Don't do it. But it's like if they could do a story and it's just one of them punch-in stories.
Oh yeah.
In game version. Hot dang.
Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to name our favorite Pokemon movie.
Okay.
Right? Favorite movie that we watched. And then if you were in charge of a Pokemon game, what kind of game would you make?
Okay, you go first.
I've got both of these. I've got both of these locked
I need
and
a
loaded.
second to think.
I've been pretty not active, but I've been an active lurker in the fan game community for a very long time. I even started one. I started a fan game at one point, and then I was like, this is going to take 500 hours and no one will play it. And it won't even work. So I was like, I'm going to spend 500 hours doing something else. But my favorite movie is either the Pokemon Heroes with Latios and Latios.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So good.
Really like that one. And I know that the first movie is kind of like everyone loves it, but I like the Entei movie.
I love the Entei movie.
Actually, no, it's a close one. It's a close one. I think the Entei movie might be my favorite, but the Latios and Latios one it's just awesome. I don't know. It made me like Venice, right? It made me like want to visit Venice. Like I love all the Pokemon that Ash uses in it. Like I love Latios and Latios. It's a really cool, really cool movie.
They're so
but
cool.
I'm gonna give it to Entei. I'm gonna give it to Pokemon movie 3. The fan game I would make, or not the fan game, if I was given actual, real, honest to goodness control of a Pokemon game,
right?
I would either do a game where you play as one of the gym leaders before they become a gym leader, right? And you play as them going through the process of becoming a gym leader.
Oh, that's cool.
You're only allowed to catch Pokemon of the type of that gym leader. So you have to get like really creative with the limited Pokemon pool that you have.
Right.
That was kind of one of my fan game idea. I thought that'd be interesting.
Cool. That's
or
cool.
I would have a Pokemon game that takes place entirely within a single city. So there is all the routes, instead of being across like grass and stuff, it is just like streets. And then there are big parks and there are different districts.
Right.
And the story I would tell wouldn't be about I mean, I think it'd be cool to have like a battle element to it, right? There's battles happening, but I would want the story to actually be about like almost, I don't want to say supervillains. My idea that I had was that like your dad is like a radio talk show host, and he is kind of inciting that people to get up in arms, and like he's kind of getting people, riled up about certain issues and about using Pokemon for power and strength.
Right.
And eventually you have to go and battle your dad on this talk show to prove that, like Pokemon can be your friends. Right. And I would include a part of the game where if you were not nice to your Pokemon and you get to that final battle, your Pokemon release themselves.
I think that's awesome.
Right. Like I want.
But you have to invest in the feeding them Pokeblocks.
Yeah.
You have to train them evenly.
You have to go play all of the cool mini games
with all your Pokemon.
You have to go and visit all the different areas of town. And I would want it to be, because most of these stories have like big supervillains, and I want to tell a far more intimate story with Pokemon. I think that Pokemon has the potential to be. I mean, Detective Pikachu, the movie, does an amazing job of telling a very intimate story in a world full of magical rats, right? And so I would want to tell a story like that. Tell a story where it is about you and like a family member, or like it is just a small contained thing that happened.
Right.
And I'd like it to happen inside a single city so that it feels new and fresh and personal, right? Instead of just like you're passing through.
Yeah.
That still sounds very similar to a Pokemon game, like in the Pokemon game story. But I feel like if it was done just tighter, instead
if there was mechanics on like friendship with Pokemon that you could have.
Or there were limitations on which Pokemon you could have.
Right.
Or the battling was secondary, or the battling was random, or the battling was like if you included aspects, if you changed the game pace slightly, you would tell a far more compelling narrative. That's cool. Yeah. That's cool.
I like that.
Favorite movie, dream game.
Favorite movie? I don't know if I have a favorite, but like the ones that I definitely watched a lot more, I think, probably the Jirachi one.
Jirachi Wishmaker.
Yeah, I watched that one a lot.
You had that one on VHS. I watched it a ton.
You know, like your favorite movies growing up were just the ones that like your parents bought.
Yeah,
it was just
you didn't really have a choice.
That they could tolerate, I guess. It's like my favorite Barbie movies were the ones that I owned. I didn't have them all.
Yeah.
So I really liked that one, and because also Absol's in that, and
Absol's so cool.
He's just pretty cool.
Absol's so cool.
And plus, he's one of the only Pokemon that can talk.
Yeah, don't Google him either. Don't Google
really?
Don't friggin' Google Absol. Absol's cool, but don't Google him.
Gosh dang it, furries.
They ruin everything.
Stay away.
Let us have our things.
Go away. Okay, and then game. I was just thinking about this while you were talking. It would be cool if there was like a prehistoric Pokemon game. If like you're like a caveman, basically.
Oh, we're going before Legends Arceus, right? Legends
Arceus did not sell it hard enough. They did not like hardcore. Like
it needed another year of development. It really, really did.
What they need, like this is my thought process. You're in a village, probably not like, probably like Renaissance, I think, like old, right?
You don't want like Adobe buildings, right?
No Pokemon Center, none of that crap. Pokemon are like wild animals, and you are going out, and like some are trained, but they're like the little ones, but not like fully evolved Pokemon. Like those things are killed. But you go out into the world,
and you're the first Pokemon trainer.
And the Pokemon aren't attacking Pokemon that you've trained. They're attacking you. And you have to how to train your dragon.
That's so cool.
Wouldn't that be sick?
Oh, that's so dope. That's an entirely different game. That'd be fun though. Holy cow, that'd be fun.
You have to like how to train your dragon and like teach them that you aren't.
Yeah.
We're gonna kill them.
You kind of have to like
eat them.
Well, it'd be fun because you only have, without a Pokeballs, you kind of have to, you only have so many Pokemon you can bring with you.
Right.
So you can like ride an Arcanine and you can bring your Crobat with you.
Right.
And then you get like one little baby Pokemon because you don't have any more space for a third Pokemon to follow you around.
Right.
And then when you're in combat, you have to be like rolling around while you're like, trying to survive while your Pokemon battle, while you're like shouting orders to them in the fight. That is...
Because once you befriend the Pokemon, they'll defend you, but the other Pokemon won't know that you're not an enemy.
Right, so you can still aggro them.
Right, so they will attack you and you will faint.
That's
I think that would be
fun.
really cool.
That's really, really fun.
I don't know. I think that would be pretty kind of neat. Plus, I mean, like, once again, like, both of the things that we talked about are like, we have friendships with these Pokemon that don't exist, but we want a game that makes it exist.
Right. We want the friendships to actually be a gameplay mechanic. We think that gameplay mechanics are actually a medium for narrative experience.
Right. Because, I mean, all you have is your emotions, your imagination attaching to this code.
Yeah.
That's why everyone loves Epona in Legend of Zelda. We're planning an episode to talk about the Legend of Zelda games.
We're going to get there.
In a month, I think.
A few weeks, yeah.
A few weeks. And I'm really excited to talk about it because, like, there's so much to talk about.
So much, like, yeah.
That's why everyone loves Epona because, like, it's a character that you build a relationship with, and then, like, they become your friend.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think Breath of the Wild kind of loses a little bit.
I think it doesn't. I think you're right. Only because Epona already has a name when you show up. In Breath of the Wild, you have to catch your own horse.
And then you give it a name.
Right, and then you give it a name. But even then, that horse can die. Epona cannot die. Epona is immortal.
Epona is forever.
And so are my Pokemon. I still remember like the first Pokemon that I ever got to level 100. Right, I still remember the Pokemon that got me to beat the Elite Four for the first time.
Yeah.
Like there's something special about gameplay that allows for one-dimensional characters to shine, right?
Right.
And so, no, I don't need to have a super deep story. What I like even my other stories that I was talking about with gym leaders and stuff, like those are stories where I would want the combat, I would want the battles to be much more in-depth and challenging to heighten these existing stories.
Right.
But if it wasn't either of those, it probably would be something like yours, right? Or it would be like, I would have like you run a restaurant and all of your employees are Pokemon.
And you have to like hire them.
You have to choose which Pokemon. This one
resume.
And this one is the freezer, and this one works the ovens.
That's so cute.
So what are we learning from this? What are we
learning from this? That we can implement in our own stories.
Yes.
We have an emotional bond to creatures as people.
Yes.
Because we have relationships with each other, but the love that we have for a pet is something that transcends into games.
Yeah.
So I think we could implement that in more interesting ways instead of like, oh, here's your yappy sidekick.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Skip Reduced later too. But I agree. I think that gameplay, especially gameplay, it really does lend itself to this kind of storytelling. Mm-hmm. But in books and in the comic books or TV shows, having someone like Momo or Appa that functions in the group, right? That your relationship with the character's relationship with their pets actually does benefit them, right? It is a mutually beneficial relationship for both of them.
Right.
That is kind of like the meat and potatoes of having a pet, right?
Yeah, and we didn't have pets growing up, but we had stuffed animals, we had creatures.
Sure,
like we
made our own pets.
Because it's like we wanted relationships with people, but we also wanted that thing that we took care of that gave you an unconditional love.
Tamagotchis. I can talk about that. Yep.
True.
Very true.
True.
Thank you so much for listening. We went a little bit over time, but we're so glad that you stuck around.
Our call out of today is to, in your writing, if you're writing a relationship between a person and a creature, think about it a little bit differently. Thinking about it in a way that relationship is more key. There's more love that can be there instead of just you talking to them and then crying when they die. Like,
Right. Look at How to Train Your Dragon. Look at Shepherd Called Bales on shepherdcalledbales.com. The story that we wrote, the sheep and the raccoon, are characters who are characters. They're real characters with
They have
desire.
personalities.
Yes, they do, and they are. It is a. They exist in a mutually. Wow, take two. And they exist in a mutually beneficial relationship with the protagonists.
Wow, that was a lot of good big words. Can you tell? He writes stories.
You can find us on Instagram, YouTube,
TikTok, Spotify.
Marin's dropping TikToks of her drawing art and things.
Come draw with me.
Yeah, and I am finished my second draft of Shepherd Called Bales, so you can expect that happening really soon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching.
Stay creative.